Some people are going to see the title of this video and they're going to think, Abby, what have you got to say about body confidence? You've been naturally slim, you've never been overweight. What have you had to worry about? You're fine. And to those people I would say, those thoughts are completely unhelpful and they're wrong. Thoughts like that make it more difficult for people to share what they've been through and what they struggle with. Because anybody can struggle with body confidence. Absolutely anybody, whatever size you are, big, small, curvy, not curvy, anybody, literally anyone. Nobody is excluded from being able to struggle with this. And I'm not claiming to have all the answers or to have the most dramatic story or to be completely relatable to everybody. All I can do is share what I've been through and hope that helps somebody else who has struggled with body confidence, who struggled with the way they look, whatever that might mean for you. If you aren't going to find this helpful, then don't watch this video. But if you are, then please keep watching, and I really hope that sharing my story can help you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Abby here and it is a very rainy day today, so I hope the lighting's okay. It's pretty grey out there, unfortunately, and it's rainy. You probably can't hear, but if you hear the pitter-patter of raindrops, then that's why. If this is the first video of mine you're watching, then welcome to Through the Narrow Gate. You're very welcome to subscribe and like and turn on that notification bell thing. I post faith-related videos, and today's is going to be about body image, which I think you've already gathered by this point. I just felt like I wanted to share my story with you all. I'm going to be honest, it's going to be raw, it's just what's happened to me, how I've struggled with the way that I look and where I'm at now, which is a much better place, thank the Lord. I will mention a few other people in this story, not by name, but I want to make it clear that I'm not placing any blame or trying to shame anybody. That is not my intention. I just want to share what's happened to me and my story and hope that it helps somebody. So, without further ado, my story. On to the story. Once upon a time, a little girl called Abigail was born. Joking, not starting that far back. So, to be honest, for the first, 13 probably years of my life, I don't really remember struggling with body confidence. I don't remember really thinking about the way that I looked. As I've already said, I naturally slim build, high metabolism, quite active, and just never didn't really worry about it when I was younger. And then I think probably when I was about 14, maybe 15, I did start to become more aware of it. At school, I was kind of a bit of a nerdy, geeky Christian girl that sometimes was bullied and had some friends, but I wasn't a cool kid by any stretch of the imagination. But then I started maturing more into a young woman, became more womanly, and boys started to take a bit more notice of me. And the more boys took notice of me, I guess the more I noticed myself and realised I was growing up and that people maybe were noticing me and thinking I was pretty, and that made me feel good and made me want to look more pretty and be more noticed. And so I started paying more attention to my appearance, to what I would wear. I wore some really terrible outfits. Really skin tight, skimpy, revealing, cleavage out, bum out, just I wanted to be noticed, and I started to crave that attention because I suddenly felt like I was worth something because these people hadn't noticed me before, or boys hadn't paid much attention to me before, and suddenly they were, and I guess my self-worth suddenly became more invested in the way that I looked. And then when I was about 16, I got into my first kind of serious relationship with a guy who was really into the gym, and how do I put this? He was very aware of the way he looked and really into health and weight and things like that. And that made me even more conscious of the way I looked and made me more aware that I could work out and be slimmer and be fitter. I literally remember sitting down at the computer and Googling, what is the perfect body? How do you get the perfect body? And I would search on the internet trying to work out what could be the perfect body that I could get and how I was going to get that. I became kind of obsessed with the way that I looked and wanting to be the perfect version of myself. And when me and that guy broke up, that went a bit further, and I started not eating very much, eating small meals, exercising a lot. I lost quite a lot of weight. It's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I remember that nobody really said anything to me about what I was doing. And I think it's because they didn't understand. They saw me as healthy, slim, confident, and just couldn't comprehend why I would be struggling with body confidence, why I would look at myself and want to be something different. I remember hating my hips, the way they stuck out. I knew I could never have a certain body shape because of the way I naturally am, and I would spend a lot of time doing twisty moves trying to work down those love handles. I didn't like that about myself. So during that time I lost a lot of weight, and I don't think I have any pictures of what I looked like then. I'm not sure it would be helpful to show them anyway, but I was skinny. I never got to a dangerous point of skinniness, but I do remember just feeling my hip bones, and they stuck out a lot, and I'd never noticed that before. Not that there's anything wrong with them sticking out, but I just knew for myself, I was like, oh, why are my bones so visible? Maybe I've taken this a bit too far. Maybe I need to eat more food. At this point, I was about to go to university, and so I cooled it a little bit on the exercise and eating stuff, and I was focused on going to uni, which is an opportunity to reinvent yourself, and I wanted to be a fun, beautiful, sexy person that all the boys wanted to kiss. So I went to uni and I dressed still very revealing clothes, wanting to show off and, I don't know, get attention. That's what I wanted. And then at some point in my second year of uni, I just one time ate too much food and I made myself sick. And I did that kind of regularly for a period of time. I can't remember how long. And at the time, I didn't think it was a big deal. I felt like I was in control of it. And I would just be sick when I'd eaten too much. Or if I wanted to be sick, I would eat like 20 rich tea biscuits to put something else in my stomach so that I could be sick. After a while, I told one of my housemates. I don't think she really knew how to react, but she helped, and just telling somebody was helpful. I still kind of did it, and then I was seeing a different guy at that point, and I eventually told him, and he made me promise not to do it anymore. So I didn't do it many times after that, because I don't like to break a promise. Probably at that point I was a bit bigger, put on a bit of weight since being really slim a couple of years before. Still I was slimmer than I am now, but I think I didn't like the way I looked and I wanted to be skinnier, and that's why I did that. I felt it was a way that I had control of. It was a short phase in my life, and since then I've had lots of times where I've had the urge to be sick again if I've eaten too much. Not so much now, and I haven't done it for a really long time, which is good. But after that, I was still aware of what I was eating. I remember, it's so funny, well, you could call it funny or sad, that I made myself like certain foods or dislike certain foods because they were better for me than others. So for example, I trained myself to never have butter. I made myself like rich tea biscuits more than digestives because they got less fat in. I wouldn't like cooking with much oil. I would just be careful with how much chocolate I was eating or things like that. And in my final year of uni, kind of went out kind of partying a bit less then. But I remember getting ready to go out partying was when I would feel more insecure because I was trying to make myself look really sexy and attractive, and if I was wearing something skimpy and I felt my belly was showing, I hated it. And I would always suck my belly in. Getting ready to go out was just so much about how can I look as pretty and as sexy and amazing as possible. I had this feeling that I just needed to look great, and if I didn't, that was bad. So then I left university and I moved away, and that was when I recommitted my life to Jesus. I would love to do a testimony video another time, but in short, I hadn't really been walking with the Lord for quite a few years, but I knew I needed him, and I came back to him, and I had a lot to work through, and body image was one of those things. I realised I'd been searching for my worth and identity for years, and I'd been looking in all the wrong places. I craved affirmation and love. I'd look for that in relationships with boys, in the way that I looked. I felt that if I was beautiful, I was worth something. But deep down, I was so broken. But God completely restored me. He completely healed my heart in so many ways. God turned my life around. He turned it upside down, and it was a long process. It definitely didn't happen overnight, but I slowly realised that I am beautiful the way that God created me, that my worth is not based in what I look like. I don't want to be remembered as someone that was really fit once or hot once or that. No, I want to be remembered as Abby, who was kind and generous and friendly and on fire for Jesus. That's what I want my legacy to be. And I'd been living for so long trying to leave my legacy as being a beautiful person, but no, you can't take that to heaven when you die. Like, that's not what God cares about. I used to have written on my mirror in my bedroom that the world critiques every inch of your exterior, but God looks straight to your heart. And it's so true. I love this verse in 1 Samuel 16. And what's happening here is God has chosen the next king. And Samuel is trying to work out which one of Jesse's sons it is, and he looks at who's the oldest and the strongest and the tallest and the most attractive. And God says to Samuel, no, mate. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. A lot's changed for me in the last 10 years. I'm heavier now than I was at 18. I could be fitter and slimmer. I could wear things that highlight my figure more. I have stretch marks. I've got cellulite. Things that I used to hate about myself, like my hips. But when I look in the mirror now, I see a woman who's grown so much and changed so much and done things that I never thought I could with the help of God. I see a person who can do amazing things for Jesus. Not because I'm slim or I'm pretty or anything like that. Those things don't matter to God. He cares about our character, not about what size clothes we wear. I was chasing perfection. I was chasing something that I could never even achieve. I wanted to be the perfect woman, have the perfect body, and everybody to look at me and think, wow, she's amazing. That's not what I want anymore. God has totally changed my heart and changed what I desire of myself. I want to focus on becoming a godly woman who can do her bit to change the world for Jesus. My worth comes from being a daughter of the King, not from how many rolls I have when I lean over, which is quite a few right now. I can feel them. And the awesome thing is, this all applies to you as well. You are not defined by what your size is or your shape. You are a child of God, and nothing can take that away from you. Trying to live up to the pressures and expectations that the world puts on us about our beauty and what we should look like is only going to take you further away from God. He doesn't care about that stuff. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go to the gym or we can't wear makeup, we can't look pretty. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't tell each other that we're beautiful or encourage each other to be healthy. Important question in all those things is why? What are you chasing after? What are the priorities in your life? God has so much more for you than trying to meet some cookie cutter worldly expectations that are put on us for how we should look. There is so much more, and letting go of those pressures, trying to brush them off and say it doesn't matter, is gonna just make your life so much better. And it is a journey. I'm still on that journey. If you say I'm ugly and fat, I might be a bit sad. And sometimes I do look at myself in the mirror and I think I'm ugly and fat. Life is hard and we're never going to stop feeling those pressures. But putting Jesus first and truly acknowledging that our worth is in God and prioritising working on our insides, who we are, than focusing on our outsides, it's going to lead to a much happier and more wholesome life. I'm going to do a part 2 to this video where I talk about some specific tips and advice for how to be more body confident. You can get excited for that video. But I hope this has been really helpful for you. I hope that God's spoken to you through my story and you can at least take one thing away that encourages you and helps you wherever you're at. Just know that you are so beautiful. Like, I just can't express that enough. That it literally doesn't matter how fat or thin or pretty or ugly you think you are. And yeah, people are going to tell you it does. The world is going to tell you it does. But they're lying. Straight up lying. I hope you can start to believe that just a little bit more. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.